What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. I'll tell you where most relationship dynamics fail, especially if you're a sane person and like to have long-term relationships. I'll tell you where most long-term relationship dynamics fail. They fail in the idea of what that relationship is to each of the persons involved. And as much as building rapport with someone is important for intimacy, being able to pin someone down with certain qualities and behaviors and temperaments is all part of the familiarity we build, which in itself, closeness is a function of. But like most things in life that are double-edged, relationships live and also die by the built-up rapport. First, let's define rapport. By the dictionary definition, it's a close and harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. So again, the problem isn't with rapport itself, but our attachment to the rapport we've already built. And essentially, the understanding we've grown of someone is one that we hold on to, as opposed to letting that understanding breathe and be flexible and updated over time and open to providing different data to us in every instance. We think we've already understood the person's feelings, their ideas, their intentions of communicating something. And over time, as those things start to not keep up with the reality of an evolving human being, the more distance you start to experience with the other person you're in a relationship with. It's a lot of why many of us have issues with our families, because of your family's exposure and access to you for the longest period of time than any other relationship. Your family is most likely to be the ones who, in an attempt to know us, be close to us, live with us, anticipate our needs, meet our needs, and many other positive reasons for why anyone would want to grow an understanding of someone else so they can coexist with them. But then those are the same very reasons, again, that become the limiting factor in the maintenance of that relationship, the upkeep, the growth, the durability of that relationship. As you grow older and eventually evolve, or hopefully evolve daily, in which you naturally grow further and further away from the person who has grown so familiar to understand you as you. And again, unless you have wise adults around you as a part of your family, chances are what they think of you, which is almost becomes an imposition on you to be that way, what they think of you is not as flexible as it could be to let your relationship with them evolve and change. Because a lot of us don't like change. Our cling to the familiar and unwillingness to change becomes the ultimate contributing factor to losing the relationship then altogether. And then no matter how much change you like to avoid, you now fail on all measures to keep things the same and comfortable and familiar because you lose the relationship altogether. The solution that I realize lies in the relationships that are just budding and beginning, and seeing how we behave in those. The courting that a person tends to do in the beginning, the effort that somebody puts in, and though some people admittedly put in unrealistic levels of courting and effort when they first meet someone, and that unrealistic courting, which cannot be sustained, will actually be then the downfall of the relationship, but that's a whole nother topic. But the solution is not in the courting itself, but the energy with which we do it, the reason why we do it. And a lot of that passion that makes us come alive, it's like being on an adventure and driving into the unknown, and you don't know what turn to take, and you're so awake and sitting at the edge of your seat. A lot of that energy and zeal in the beginnings of a relationship comes from the discovery. The journey that the two of you go on to discover each other and grow in your fondness and fascination of each other as more and more of you unfolds and comes to the surface, and you discover more and more of each parts of you. That curiosity, that equal respect, that attention, that acceptance of our own ignorance of the other person, and still continuing on the thrill of that adventure, heading into the unknown of this person. That energy itself, if maintained, is the solution to longevity in a relationship. I've noticed my healthiest relationships are people that I approach with curiosity, and I just want to learn as opposed to thinking that I already know where they're coming from. That's what gives equal respect, which is synonymous with not understanding someone and thinking and giving them the credit that they may know something that you don't know. So you approach it with curiosity and an openness, which is respect. And now I know that sounds paradoxical because you can't discover something twice, and once you know the person, that honeymoon phase wears off. And so, again, what I am proposing is to lean into the paradox by accepting the reality that no matter your effort to gain understanding of someone, because humans are so dynamic that we never really know anyone. And that if not the courting, at least the energy of always heading into the unknown with a person, the willingness to head into the unknown, the willingness to acknowledge that there is so much unknown about someone, will keep your energy and attention heightened. And the problem is that we haven't been taught this, and our human nature that uses what we know to include or exclude someone from our tribe teaches us to get to a threshold of understanding of someone and then use that as a basis for all future operations with them. That's how we maintain safety and security. And this is also where most heartache happens. When we've become more and more rigid over time in our understanding of someone, as it has become more and more crystallized in what we believe the person is, then when we meet the reality of that living, breathing individual and their free will, and they break out of any constraints of our ideas of them that we had, immediately our life is in disarray. And in those moments you realize, and you have to ask yourself, where does the fault lie? And always, if you're real with yourself, you will come back to the reality that what broke your heart was never the person, because they are but a budding human being. What broke your heart was your own need to put them in the place that you can understand them, and your understanding of any living, breathing thing will always fail to keep up with the pace of its becoming. And that is just reality. So that means basing our relationships on the comfort and safety of understanding and the knowing of someone else is a failing proposition. The only solution then is to have your understanding be just as living and breathing as the person. And yes, that means you have to live a little bit outside of safety, a little outside of stability, a little outside of comfort, a little outside of your understanding. And that's where all the best and the longest relationships lie. That's where true love lies. Whoever told you that love wouldn't require begrudging courage? A true bond in any relationship will push you past yourself. It will take from you what you are not willing to easily give. And if you really want to be alive the days of your life, you will lean into living like this on the edge, an inch from death in view of heaven. And I can keep going, but this is not for me to, or for you to fully understand. is just to be conscious of. Just give everyone, the grace, the acknowledgement to always be in the state of becoming. That they are always outside of your comfortable understanding. For the possibility of them to present you something new in every instance, in every interaction, and to let your interpretation of it not be limited by your familiar ideas, to allow every interaction to be free from the weight of your past with that person. And then you will be surprised how much it improves the quality of your communication, the strength of your bond, the depth of your intimacy. And the rest of longevity is in God's hands. I love you, family. Stay true always. See you in the next show.